Hello everyone, and welcome to another Transfer Talk show on Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzy, and I'm your host for today's show. It's that time of the year again, as the January window is finally open and the rumor mill is flowing right now. So, in today's show, we will discuss 20 rumors that are circulating the airways right now. So, we'll start with the biggest rumor, in my opinion, across Europe, and that is Dani Olmo, who it's not official yet, but potentially could become a free agent after Barcelona are having financial issues in terms of registering the player with La Liga. There's a lot of Premier League teams such as Man City, Manchester United, Chelsea, and Arsenal who have been linked with the player. In terms of the player, I think he would. In terms of the club, I think the player might suit will possibly be Man City. I feel like Man City are looking for a long-term successor to Kevin De Bruyne, who has 6 years remaining in his contract, and it doesn't look like he'll be receiving a contract extension. So Dani Olmo could be a good solution for that number 10 role. In terms of the other teams, Manchester United, to be fair, any team would improve them right now. To be honest, but I don't think number 10 is their priority. I think they need to focus more from a defensive point of view and also possibly recruit some wing backs, which is what Amorim would like to add to his squad. Arsenal, they've got Odegaard, but whenever he's not available, they do lack that creative spark in the middle of the park. So for me, all valid options. Some might even say, what about Liverpool? Well, for me, he'd certainly fit the way Arnold Slot plays perfectly, but I believe we have quite a few number 10s in our team. So it's not a position that needs strengthening at this stage of our season. For me, I would say Man City would be a great fit now. Daniel Olmo has gone on record and said that he would like to try and get this resolved, and he is willing to stick around until he's officially registered with the club. So whether he moves this month remains to be seen, but it's certainly one to watch because if Barcelona are unable to register the player and are given no choice but to release him from his contract, he will be officially a free agent. Will need to move on. So let's see how it goes. Definitely one to watch. On to the next rumor, and I just briefly mentioned Manchester United. Um, Ruben Amorim is very, very desperate to sign a fullback, maybe two, maybe three, maybe even four, because they don't have a lot in their squad. And Robinson is apparently top of their list. He's more of a traditional left back, in my opinion, but can certainly play that wing back role as he's got a fantastic engine and has great delivery from the flank. The fee that is rumored is around £40 million, which I think is a great deal. He may be 27 years old, which some would suggest is quite old for a fullback, but I feel like they need a signing who is ready made and can fit into the team right away. So I believe he'll be a great addition to their team. Having said that, I don't see it being a summer move. I don't think Fulham would want to sell the player. I think 40 million might be a bit too low for them. So maybe this is one for the summer. Another big factor is the fact that Manchester United apparently won't be spending money in this window unless they sell players. So for me, it's a bit of a no-go right now, but I do believe he is on their wish list in terms of recruiting for a left sided fullback. On to the next rumor. Kolo Muani, unfortunately, seems to be out of favour at PSG, and they are willing to loan him out this month. He's been linked with moves across Europe. He's been linked with clubs in Italy as well as the Premier League. And in terms of the Premier League, he's been linked with moves to Chelsea, Arsenal, and Tottenham, who have shown interest in the player. For some reason, I just don't see him signing for any of these clubs in the Premier League. I think he possibly could stay at PSG and try and fight for his position and then possibly assess his situation later in the summer. So right now, I think it's all paper talk. And for me, he's a great profile, very talented player. Can play in different positions, can play on the left, can play on the right, can play through the middle, across the front line. So if he is available for a loan move this window, I think he'd improve a lot of teams. But let's see if there's any truth to the rumor. I'm just not sure if he's destined for the Premier League. I can see him moving either back to the Bundesliga or possibly joining a team in Serie A. But we'll soon find out if there is any truth to that rumor. And the next rumor here is Southampton's star boy, Tyler Dibling, being linked with a move to Newcastle. No huge surprise as it's not the first time we've heard this story. They've been linked with the player for quite a few months now. But there was actually some breaking news yesterday that apparently Liverpool have jumped ahead of the queue and possibly see Tyler Dibling as a potential target in the near future. So that is one to watch. Very interesting profile player that can play on the right wing, can also play as a number 10. Very technical player, very skillful, strong on the ball. And when he played against Liverpool, very impressed in terms of how he was barging players around. So definitely surprised me in terms of his physicality. Definitely one for the future. So let's see what the future holds. I feel like for Newcastle, if they really have strong interest in this player, they need to try and break the bank for him. Whether they can due to the financial rules at the Premier League, who knows? But definitely a player that I do expect to see moving from Southampton in the near future. Now, big talking point for us Liverpool fans. So I'll try not to speak on it too much. And I did mention it in quite detail yesterday with Jamie Phillips. Shout out to Jamie for coming on the show last night. But let's briefly touch on what's happened with Trent Alexander-Arnold in terms of his contractual situation. So, according to rumours, Real Madrid placed a bid of £20 million, which was rejected by Liverpool. And apparently, according to rumours, there is a second bid incoming. Now, my thoughts on all of this situation right now, I feel like Real Madrid are quite desperate at this point in time because they don't really have anyone in the club that can play that right back position. Carvalho of course, got injured. They've tried to make Vasquez into a makeshift right back. That really hasn't worked out. Valverde's played then. That's not his natural position. So I feel like they've just made the bid based on desperation rather than it being something that's come from Trent's camp in terms of them wanting a move this month. Obviously, that's just my opinion. There's no sources that will confirm that for me. I feel like the way I'm looking at it in terms of Trent's situation, I feel like in the summer he did potentially have his sights set on a move to Real Madrid due to the fact that Jurgen Klopp left and then a new coach came in Arne Slot, who, let's be honest, was an unknown coach when he was first appointed as the Liverpool coach. And I feel like he's been hugely surprised in terms of his impact at the club. Look where we are, top of the table in the Premier League, top of the Champions League, in all competitions, fighting all cylinders, and our season is just going sky high right now. So I don't think Trent envisaged what is happening at the club, and things caught him off surprise. So I don't think he's made a final decision whether he's staying at Liverpool or he wants to move on to Real Madrid. I think it comes down to a small detail, not a small detail, it's actually a big one, where two things. One, can they improve his current terms because he's on around 180k per week, and which is quite a big salary for a right back. But if you look in London, you've got a right back in Reece James who's earning 250k a week. So I think that's the kind of fee that he's requesting for or looking for in terms of his new salary in his new contract. And I feel like he deserves that pay rise 100%, maybe even more, to be quite honest with you. So terms will definitely play a part, and secondly, will be ambition from the owners. Arsenal's had a fantastic season so far with Liverpool, but are the club going to back him in the upcoming windows? Because we haven't been backed in the summer window. We brought in Chiesa, but he's hardly featured. Will we be in a position to recruit in this window or in the summer, depending on our success? That's something FSG haven't done. Whenever Liverpool have won the league or the Champions League, we haven't taken advantage of our triumph in that season. We've had terrible summers after that. We've signed youth players and players on free transfers like Adrian, all that sort of stuff. So we've never really capitalized on our success. So that's what I think Trent is probably seeking from the owners. Are they going to show ambition going forward? Track record will suggest no, because they're not that type of owners. They are very particular, very calculated in terms of how they operate. It's all about data analysis for these um, owners. They focus more on metrics rather than face value. So, in terms of Trent's situation, I feel like I'm going to be on the fence here. I quite frankly, I can't really say what the future is going to be with Trent. I would love to say he's going to stay at the club, but I'm very much 50-50. I just don't know how to say. Like when watch his interviews, a part of me feels like he does want to stay. Like he's bought into Arne Slot's philosophy, and maybe he wants to continue here. But then there's a part of me that feels like maybe he feels like he's done it all at Liverpool and he's ready to move on. So right now, it's up in the air. I don't mean to go around the bush and not say exactly what I feel. I just feel like we just have to be patient as Liverpool fans and see what happens. And one thing that I've noticed online the last few days is people's emotions have certainly taken over in terms of how they feel about the situation. They've said all sorts about Trent. They've said all sorts about his brothers, who are his agents as well. And I don't feel like that's acceptable. Yes, we get emotional when it comes to these things, but you're basing your opinions on rumors, on journalists suggesting these things are happening, but they are not concrete news. It's nothing official. So gotta take these rumors with a pinch of salt. There's no truth to it, in my opinion. It's not gospel. If you're seeing Ornstein or if you're seeing Fabrizio Romano tweeting this sort of stuff, you still gotta take it with a pinch of salt. They're not always 100% right. They might have sources that can give them some indication of what's going on with certain players, but they're not always right. So, as a Liverpool fan, I'd like to let everyone else know, just please, let's calm down. Let's see what happens when it comes to Trent. Um, Once he makes that decision, then I feel like we are entitled to express how we feel. And whatever the outcome is, I'm sure we'll find out. I wouldn't even say we'll find out this month. I think we'll find out later in the season, towards the ending stages, in my opinion. So let's see what happens in terms of Trent. But right now, for me, I believe he remains a Liverpool player after January. I don't see him moving on. If he does decide to leave and move to Real Madrid this month, for me, it does tarnish his legacy as a Liverpool player or a Liverpool legend, in my opinion. To leave at this stage of the season where we're probably having one of our best seasons so far, um, it wouldn't be the right move, in my opinion. But look, we've got a few weeks in the window. Let's see what happens with Trent Alexander-Arnold. On to the next player, and that is Joshua Zirkzee, who unfortunately got dismissed after 30 minutes of game time in the Newcastle game. I'm sure that would have been an embarrassing moment for the player. So naturally, you do get rumours circling with a player that looks, not pleased with his current club situation. And the current rumour is that he could be rejoining his former manager in Thiago Motta at Juventus. The rumor is that it's a potential loan deal, which I actually think would suit all parties. Having said that, I just don't think United are in a position to just loan out players. If a bid was made where it involved money, then maybe they're talking. But right now, I just don't see this having any truth to the rumor. I can see it being more of a summer move if Joshua Zirkzee is disjointed and does not want to be part of this United setup. But for this particular window, I don't think this move will happen. Darwin Nunez has been linked with a move to AC Milan. The rumor right now is that he's been linked with a loan move, but there is an obligation for AC Milan to buy the player at the end of the season for around 45 million. When I heard the rumor, I was like, I'd consider it. I'll be honest with you, 45 million seems quite low, but due to the fact that we spent a lot of money on Darwin, we spent 65 plus add-ons that will rise to 80 million depending on the club's success. It's a hit that we may have to take. I don't think we'll get that fee due to him not really improving as a player, in my opinion. So it would be a good move for all parties. I think moving to an established club like AC Milan would be great for Darwin Nunez. I actually think his style of play would suit the way Italian football is played as well. I feel like he'll really flourish there. But the one thing that I think triggered some section of the fan base is that he was apparently liking Instagram posts or stories of him wearing an AC Milan shirt. So some fans are a bit annoyed. Some fans are, not taking too much notice about that. I don't know if this rumor is genuine. If it is, I would consider it. But having said that, I wouldn't want us to lose any players at this stage of the season. Right now, I'd like to keep all the players, and in the summer we can revisit the situation and make the necessary amends to our squad in terms of players departing and players being recruited. So right now, I think Darwin Nunez should stay put. I don't think he's a starter for the Liverpool team. I see him more as an impact sub, and I think that will suit his game, especially against low block teams. So for me, Darwin Nunez still has a part to play to our season. So not the right time to sell him, in my opinion. Another player that, yes, I'm sure Liverpool fans are getting sick and kind of seeing, but he actually doesn't involve Liverpool. The current rumor is that he's been linked with a move to Man City, who we all know are desperate to find a short-term Rodri replacement. But my big question about this rumor is that would Zubimendi go to a club to be backup for Rodri like he is for the national team? I don't think so. According to reports, Zubimendi is frustrated at Real Sociedad, and is ready to move on. I don't think this move will happen in this month. I do see Zubimendi possibly departing in the summer if the reports are to be true that he's frustrated at the club. Uh, but there'll be a lot of suitors for him, that's for sure. And if that is the case, I can see Liverpool trying to sign him in the summer again. But right now, I don't see him leaving Real Sociedad. I think he will stay put and possibly assess his situation in the summer. Another player who's having a great season for his club, and that is Mateus Cunha. Has scored some fantastic goals for Wolves this season. And for me, no surprise that he's been linked with a move to a top Premier League club. I've been saying it for weeks in my Premier League review shows. Wolves need to do their utmost to try and keep him on board because he's a player that will definitely define their future. If was to be sold in this month, I feel like it will definitely impact their season and they could face the relegation. That's how pivotal Cunha is to the team. Arsenal seem to be showing interest in the player. As I mentioned, very good player. Can play as a false nine, can also play on the left, which is what he's been doing predominantly for Wolves this season. I'm just not sure if he's the right profile for Arsenal, as I feel like Arsenal should be looking for a more traditional number nine type of striker rather than a false nine, just because they're playing a 4-2-3-1 formation and Odegaard normally occupies that number 10 role. So you don't want to have a false nine and a number 10. It just wouldn't quite work in terms of the way Arsenal play anyway. Um, I do feel like they need to find a target man type of striker. After all, with all those high balls being pinged in the box from set pieces, they need to sign a Peter Crouch type of player. That's the profile they should be looking, not Cunha, in my opinion. Another rumor here, and no surprise, as you know, the media outlets are linking Gyokeres with his former coach Ruben Amorim at Manchester United. Bit of a lazy transfer, in my opinion. But there are rumors circulating that Gyokeres is ready to move from the club. In terms of this particular rumor to Manchester United, I think it would be suicidal for him to join a sinking ship like Manchester United. The best option for him would be to stay put and assess his options later in the summer because there will be a lot of suitors for him. He's having a great season at Sporting. I just don't feel like this is the right time for him to leave. So joining Manchester United would be a disaster, in my opinion. Now on to the next rumor. Luis Diaz apparently has been linked with a move to Barcelona once again. As you all know, guys, he was linked continuously with Barcelona in the summer, but I don't believe there's any truth to the rumor. In fact, I think the only reason why this rumor is circulating again is due to the work of his agent or agency, because currently Liverpool and Diaz's camp are having discussions in regards to a new contract. And I think because the talks have seemed to have stalled, they're trying to generate fake interest and suggest that look, Barcelona showing interest, so they want to sign him. So they're trying to use that as a bargaining tool to try and get better terms. Because right now, apparently, they're not happy with what the terms are being offered for Luis Diaz. As a Liverpool fan, I'm hoping they find a solution as Luis Diaz has hit another level this season, playing a more central role. It looks like he's found his natural position that looks really good in that role. I don't think it would be a wise decision for Liverpool to let Luis Diaz go. And I'm talking about this window, most certainly not. And of course, in the summer, I don't think that should be an option. We should tie him down to a long-term contract. In terms of what he's earning what a average squad player would earn at Liverpool, around 50, 60K. So he's entitled to have probably his salary tripled, in my opinion. So hopefully Liverpool can meet his demands and try and get him on a long-term contract because I feel like he's got a great future at the club. Another player that has been linked with a move to the Premier League, and that is Omar Marmoush. He's having a sensational season with Frankfurt in the Bundesliga, but the rumors are currently circulating towards Arsenal, which surprised me a little bit. As I mentioned about Cunha, I don't think he's the type of striker that they're after. He was heavily linked with a move to Liverpool, which for me would be a better fit in terms of how we play. He's also been linked to a move to Man City today, suggesting that City are set to sign him. That's what I saw in terms of the headline. I'm not too sure if there's any truth to that. So a lot of interest will be generated for this player who's in superb form right now, but I see him moving in the summer, not in the January window. Another player that I could see departing this window is Marcus Rashford. He seems to be out of favour with the current coach, which is Ruben Amorim. Um, in terms of the rumour to Arsenal, it's an interesting one. I think he could do a job for them on the left wing. Martinelli hasn't really secured that role, in my opinion. He's shown glimpses of his old self, but hasn't really been consistent this season. Rashford coming into his team could actually do a great job on that left-hand side. As a striker, I'm not so sure. I don't think he's got the all-round game to be a top striker, in my opinion. Um, but is he needed right now? I don't think a left winger is their priority. They've got quite a few. They got Raheem Sterling, and he's hardly had any game time. So I don't think that's a priority position for Arsenal. In terms of Rashford, big questions in terms of his desire and motivation. Fans have been disgruntled with his social activity where he's attending basketball games across the pond and all that sort of stuff. So they're questioning his desire and his commitment to the club. I think maybe he's just tired of playing at Manchester United, maybe needs a fresh challenge. I can see him moving abroad, maybe a move to Paris Saint-Germain would be one that certainly fits the bill, especially if Kolo Muani ends up leaving this month. A move to Saudi is an option. He'll be earning a lot of money there. It could be something that appeals to him. So it remains to be seen where he goes. I do see him leaving. Whereas this month, it's such a tricky window to predict. But I feel like if there's an offer made for him, I can see him departing. So let's see what happens with Rashford. Now, on to the next player, Andreas Pereira, who unfortunately has found minutes very limited this season due to the impact of Emil Smith Rowe. No surprise that Marseille are showing interest in the players. They tried to sign him early in the summer. So I can see this move happening. They've come in for a second time and they want to get their man, and he seems to be no, not satisfied with the amount of game time he's getting. So I can see this move happening in this window. Another player linked with a move away from Manchester United, and that is Casemiro. And this move, I feel like, is surely going to happen sooner rather than later. For me, he's completely done as a player, which is such a shame as he was one of the best CDMs for years at Real Madrid. Unfortunately, age catches up with everyone, and a move to Saudi Pro League makes the most sense at this stage of his career. Player that's been linked to Liverpool is Jonathan David. The Lille striker is available to sign a pre-contract agreement with a club outside of France. So that's probably why Liverpool have been linked with the striker. I'm not sure if he's the right fit for the club. Decent striker, but I just don't feel like he's Liverpool quality. I don't think he enhances our squad, in my opinion. So for me, it's not a player that I would consider signing at this stage. If there's no clubs that sign him in the summer, then maybe we can assess it if we're selling a few players here and there. But I just don't see him being a viable option for Liverpool right now. So even available at free transfer, I just don't see it being um, any sort of real truth to this rumor. So I don't think this will happen, fortunately. Um, Aaron Ferguson. So he's been linked with a loan move away from Brighton, player that some regarded as the next big thing or the next Harry Kane. I saw a lot of people mentioning on social. Fortunately, he hasn't delivered, and it's probably down to picking up a few injuries and it's slowed down his development. But a move to Everton, I'll be honest with you guys, I think that is a step down. If I was him, I would stick it out for the next few months and fight for my position at Brighton. And if nothing changes, then seek for a move in the summer. Going to Everton, I don't think that's the right move for him at this stage of his career. But we'll see what happens with Ferguson there. Another player being linked with a move to La Liga is Christopher Nkunku. Fortunately, it seems to be unfavored at Chelsea, so a move away from the club could be on the cards. But the club that is being linked with Barcelona due to their financial issues, I think this is a non-starter. They need to sort their situation out before they even think about signing other players. So for me, this is not a move that's going to happen. Whether he goes out on loan at a different club is another question, but I don't think Barcelona is a realistic option. Malik Tillman, player linked with a move to the Premier League, very talented player from the Eredivisie, plays for PSV, plays in a central attacking midfield role. But in terms of his profile, I'm not sure if he's what Tottenham need right now. They've got Madison who plays that number 10 role, and he's quite clearly the main man. Kulusevski's played in that central role at times as well. So I don't think this is a move that will happen this window. Maybe he's regarded as one for the future and may be signed in the summer window. But having said that, he's definitely one to watch as he has been generating a lot of interest across Europe. Very highly rated young player. So definitely one to watch out for, especially if you're watching him in the Champions League. And the final rumor of today is Ben Doak. So this was circulated earlier today. Apparently, Crystal Palace made a bid of £15 million for the winger, which got rejected by Liverpool. Liverpool are believed to be looking for around 30 million for the player, which I think is a fair price, especially how he's been in sensational form for Middlesbrough this season. I thought he might have had some sort of future at the club, but it looks like Liverpool would be ready to cash in on him. 30 million, if that bid came in, I'd accept it. I think that would be a great uh, offer for the player. And yeah, let's see what happens. Whether Crystal Palace up the offer, I'm not too sure. I'm not sure in terms of their financial power if they're willing to do that. But a move in the summer might be in the cards. I feel like Liverpool will be holding out for that 30 million ball mark there. So definitely one to watch. Whether it happens in this window remains to be seen. And that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. In terms of upcoming shows, I'll be doing a live watch along this Sunday for the Liverpool versus Manchester United game, obviously the biggest game of the week. So I'm looking forward to that one. And then we'll do a match reaction show later in the evening on Sunday at around 10 or 11 p.m. So the best thing to do is hit that notification bell so you know what time I go live. And yeah, that's all the content for this week. And that is it for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care, stay safe, and I hope to speak with you all very, very soon. Goodbye.